In an election year, control of the narrative is essential. But during the coronavirus pandemic, candidates can no longer hold rallies, shake hands, or host town halls. They are running for president online.
The central tenets of a campaign simply haven't changed. I think that the opportunity and the manner in which you do so, digital has opened the door to a lot of opportunities and a variety of tactics.
And it wasn't hard for the Trump campaign to shift gears. Around 36 million people follow Trump and his campaign accounts on Facebook, and more than 100 million people follow them on Twitter. But the Trump campaign faced a challenge when numerous reports surfaced revealing how the administration mishandled key aspects of the coronavirus response.
Our system of testing for the virus across this country is failing,
as top White House officials can't even agree on basic facts.
All political campaigns show the best version of their candidate. The fact-checker reviewed thousands of social media posts from the president, his campaign, and surrogates, and found that the campaign worked to create a different narrative online.
Tough steps to defeat a tough virus.
They rewrote mistakes, deflected blame, and created distractions. This spin itself isn't notable. It's how the campaign's widespread reach and strategic use of social media, using manipulated video and false and misleading content, allows them to rewrite even recent history. In their version of the story, Trump took all the right steps to fight COVID-19. U.S. intelligence agencies issued ominous and classified warnings about coronavirus in January. But President Trump only addressed it publicly after the first case was confirmed in the U.S.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus.
Coronavirus has been reported here in the U.S.
President Trump downplaying the threat of coronavirus.
Data of Trump's posts on Twitter and Facebook at this time shows conversation about coronavirus was almost non-existent. In fact, Trump instead was talking the most about his impeachment trial, the 2020 election, and Nancy Pelosi. Meanwhile, the virus was spreading, largely undetected across the country.
Then as we move into late February and early March, the numbers are much more significant. We're starting to really get a grasp of what's happening in China, the way it might be spreading to other countries.
Still, the topic only surfaced at Trump rallies as a political attack in late February.
Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus.
The Trump administration continues to send out mixed messages.
President Trump today denying an obvious shift in tone from previous statements.
It went from we've got this under control, 15 days, this will be done, no big deal, to, oh yeah, this is, a tool that the Democrats want to use as a hoax, yada yada, to, 100,000 people could die.
And I feel it, actually. I'm a wartime president. This is a war. This is a war.
March 17th was the first week in which Trump's most talked about topic on Twitter was coronavirus related, with the term Chinese virus. In the weeks that followed, his posts centered around fake news, New York, and White House news conferences.
So he's a guy who created narratives, back when he was a reality TV star. And so it was all fake.
First, the president and his campaign aimed to rewrite mistakes.
Your administration due in February by the time that your travel ban got
A lot.
This video points to Trump's actions in stopping the virus, but pretty much skips over all of February, a month in which the administration was slow to respond.
We've asked them to accelerate whatever they're doing in terms of a vaccine.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
The campaign cherry-picked video clips on social media, amplifying aspects of the administration's response, some of which were simply not true.
We've rapidly developed the most expansive and accurate testing system anywhere in the world.
In reality, technical glitches and government regulations caused testing to fall far behind that of other countries, creating a massive blind spot in tracking the virus's spread. Other videos took people's statements out of context, misrepresenting what they said as high praise for the president. For example, in this press conference, Surgeon General Jerome Adams commended the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps.
You're right, Mr. President. They are tireless. They're doing things that have never been done before.
But the ad creates the impression that he's talking about Trump.
They're doing things that have never been done before.
Then the Trump campaign began to deflect blame for the consequences in the U.S. and point to China.
Coronavirus infected millions, crushed the world economy. One nation deserves the blame, China.
If they can shift the blame successfully in the public's mind to China rather than to Trump themselves, there can still be discussions about the pandemic, about COVID-19, even about the deaths in the US, but a different culprit would be behind it.
President Trump said he will announce new guidelines that aim to reopen the economy.
Many of the president's supporters are simply listening to his message that, look, we're on the other end of this. You know, things are getting better. And they are then coming out and protesting and urging some of these Democratic governors in particular to begin reopening their states.
By early May, the president's tone changed again.
We have met the moment, and we have prevailed.
With the pretense of victory, Trump and his campaign shifted, pushing for states to reopen their economies, despite warnings from health experts. Coronavirus was no longer the dominant subject. Trump and his campaign had shifted to focus on charges against Michael Flynn, slandering the media, and Nancy Pelosi. The campaign created even more distraction, with a flood of negative digital ads that targeted Joe Biden in mid-May, questioning his age and tying him to China.
They're not bad folks.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper.
The quote in the ad is clipped from then Vice President's remarks about trade with China.
A more prosperous China will mean more demand for American-made goods and services, and more jobs back home in the United States of America. So our desire for your prosperity is not born out of some nobility. It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper.
And I honestly think this is one of the things that is probably a bit disconcerting for the American public. Because in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a crisis like this, research very clearly shows to us that the thing Americans crave the most, the thing that the public craves the most, is to be comforted, to be assured.
There's no question the campaign has access to an advanced digital infrastructure to push out messaging with massive reach. This includes attention-grabbing social media posts, digital ads, a phone app, and online shows. It's impossible to predict how the pandemic will be remembered in history, let alone how it will be thought of a week from now. Yet, in an election year, one that's taking place during a global crisis, there will be a continued effort to show the president's accomplishments in the best possible light. In this case, that means changing the story. Thanks for watching the Washington Post Fact Checker videos, brought to you as we work from home. If you hear something or see an online post that doesn't sound quite right, let us know. Send us an email and we'll be sure to check it out. You can follow along and watch more videos by subscribing to the Washington Post channel here. We hope you stay healthy and well informed.